You've probably heard the term operations management thrown around, and let's be honest, it sounds a bit corporate, right? A little dry, maybe. But what if I told you it's actually the invisible force that gets your breakfast to your table and your packages to your door? Well, today we're going to pull back that curtain and look at the hidden framework that makes our modern world actually work. So let's just start with something super simple. Your breakfast this morning, that coffee, that cereal, the toast, did you grow the wheat yourself? Did you roast the coffee beans? My guess is probably not. So what is the magic that brought all those separate things together from all over the world right into your kitchen? Well, the answer to that question, and really so many others, is operations management. It's the invisible engine that takes raw materials from a farm and through a bunch of steps turns them into the food on your plate. And the wild thing is, it's happening all around us all the time, and we barely even notice. And that leads us right into our first big idea. Operations are, quite literally, everywhere. They're the fundamental processes, a lot of times working silently in the background, that make our entire world of stuff possible. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? We are like fish who have no idea they're even in water. We're so completely surrounded by the logistics, the supply chains, and the manufacturing processes that bring us everything we use, we just take it all for granted. So, okay, how do we even start to define this water that we're all swimming in? Well, at its very core, operations is basically a transformation machine. It's all about the process of turning one thing into another, more valuable thing. All right, here's the formal definition for you. Operations management is managing the processes that transform inputs, and that could be raw materials, information, or even people, into outputs. And those outputs are the goods and services that ultimately add value for you, the customer. This transformation process can be super simple, like turning milk into cheese, or it can be incredibly complex and important. Think about a hospital for a second. The input is a sick patient, and the output is a healthy one. Operations management is the entire system that makes that life-changing transformation happen safely and effectively. Let's take a brewery, for example. The big picture goal, the macro operation, is simple: make beer. But that macro goal is actually made up of a whole series of carefully managed micro operations. You have to mill the barley, then you mix the wort, then you gotta cool it. Each step is its own little transformation process. This is how all complex products get made, by breaking them down into small, manageable steps. But here's the thing. These processes are not set in stone, not even close. In fact, the entire field is a massive engine of innovation. The history of operations is really the story of humanity figuring out how to make things better, faster, and cheaper. You can kind of break it down into three major phases. First, you had craft manufacturing. Picture a single artisan making a custom piece of furniture. It was beautiful, but slow. Then came the absolute game changer, mass production, pioneered by Henry Ford. That was all about high volume and low variety. And today, we're in what you could call the modern period, which really tries to get the best of both worlds, the quality and flexibility of craft, but with the scale of mass production. And this modern era has given us some seriously game-changing ideas. You've got lean production, which came out of Toyota, and it is just obsessed with getting rid of every single bit of waste. Then there's mass customization. Think ordering a computer with the exact specs you want. And you've got agile manufacturing, which lets factories change what they're making almost on a dime. It is all about being flexible and super, super efficient. Now, not all operations are the same. And there's a huge, huge difference between managing the creation of a physical product, a good, and delivering an intangible action, which is a service. Let's just frame it with a simple question. What's the real difference between building a car on an assembly line and giving someone a haircut in a salon? I mean, they're both transformation processes, right? But they are managed in completely different ways. So the key differences are all connected. With a car, right, you have low customer contact and you can build up an inventory. A car that doesn't sell today can be sold tomorrow. But a service, like a haircut, is totally different. The single most critical difference is that you cannot store a service in inventory. An empty barber's chair or a vacant hotel room represents lost money that you can never, ever get back. And that one fact changes absolutely everything about how you manage the operation. Okay, so this is all pretty interesting, but why should any of this matter to you, especially if you're not planning on becoming an operations manager? Well, the truth is, understanding operations is critical no matter what part of a business you're in. Here is the bottom line. operations is where the money is. It's almost always the largest part of a company with the biggest budget and the most people. So whether you end up in finance, marketing, or HR, your job is going to connect to operations. And if you understand how the core of the business actually works, you become way more valuable. And right at the heart of operations, there's this constant balancing act between two key goals. On one side, you have effectiveness. Are we doing the right things to make the customer happy? And on the other side, you have efficiency. Are we doing those things well, without wasting time or money? Every single great company lives in that tension, constantly trying to perfect that balance. And remember, the biggest business breakthroughs are often operational innovations. Toyota didn't invent the car, they invented a better way to make them. Amazon's genius wasn't just an online store, it was their revolutionary supply chain. Dell completely mastered mass customization. They succeeded by creating entirely new ways of doing things. So, I'm going to leave you with this. The next truly world-changing idea probably won't be some flashy new gadget. It's going to be a new process, a smarter, faster, more efficient way of doing something we already do. So look around you, at your job, in your daily life. What process is just sitting there, waiting for you to improve it?